Hello, my name is Mr. Bryce, and I'm with Susquehanna Valley High School here in Conklin, New York. And we are doing Module 1, Unit 1, practice test on pages 71 to 84, plus the 8 supplemental pages for Algebra Common Core. We're talking about inequalities here. So what is the solution to the inequality? First thing that we notice is that we have a negative coefficient here in front of the x. And Miss Cody said, get rid of the negative coefficients. We don't want any negative feelings in here. So we move it over. We have 5 is greater than 5x minus 15. Remember, if you don't do that, there's going to be some complications later on that you have to remember to do a different rule, which a lot of you forget. So here we have 20 is greater than 5x. Dividing both sides by 5, we have 4 is greater than x. That is the solution. What's the solution to the inequality? Same thing, just a little more complicated. We have to distribute for a 6g. We have to distribute for a plus 2. This has no distribution, so we have 4g plus 9. Now I am going to move the smaller piles of variables. So I have 2g plus 2 is less than or equal to 9. Now when we subtract 2 from both sides, I get 2g is less than or equal to 7. Dividing both sides by 2, I type that into my calculator, and I get g is less than 3.5. There it is. What's the solution? Doesn't say write in interval notation or set builder notation, so we are done there. Which of the following inequalities is represented by the graph below? If you notice that we are shaded between these two numbers, 3 and 10. So that means that x has to go between 3 and 10. We always use the less than symbol here, and we notice that this is not filled in, so you leave it alone. This is filled in, so we have it equal to. Filled in means it's also equal to that. And there it is. It happens to be choice 2. Choice 2. Notice that that has the equal to, so that one is wrong. This one does not have the less than or equal to, so that one is wrong. This one has the less than or equal to in the wrong spot, so that one is wrong. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me in class. Next question. Graph the solution set to this and that. So the first thing that we want to do is, no matter what it says, is we solve for x. We subtract 8 from both sides because the coefficient is positive. So we have 2x is greater than or equal to 22. Divide both sides by 2 because we're isolating the x. X is greater than or equal to 11. Here, we draw the big line. We do exactly the same thing. We're solving this one. And when we subtract 10 from both sides, because we're doing the opposite operations, we get 5x is less than 85. Dividing both sides by 5, we don't have to change the direction of the inequality because I'm dividing by a positive number, so we have x is less than 17. So we have x is bigger than 11 and less than 17. Is that possible? Let me see. Do I have a number that's bigger than 11 and smaller? Of course it is. So it says, I believe it says graph the solution set, and that's what it says. So 11 is a key number and 17 is a key number. I put a circle above 11, circle above 17. I can think of a number that is greater than 11 and less than 17, like 12. Is 12 greater than or equal to 11? Yes. Is 12 less than 17? Yes. It checks. So that means that I shade between the circles. And now this one is filled in. That one is left alone. As simple as that. You don't have to draw it to scale. List 3 numbers that are not in the solution set for w is less than 4. Let me see. 4, 5, 6. Is 4 less than 4? No. Is 5 less than 4? No. Is 6 less than 4? No. So there are 3 numbers that are not in the solution set. Hey, go big or go home. Why don't you just say 100, 101, 102? because it wants not in the solution set. Draw a little neater than me. There we go. Which number is in the solution set? Well, why is this question here? Because we have a negative x. So you add x to both sides. Remember, Miss Cody said we want to deal with positive coefficients. We want to deal with positive emotions, positive feelings, positive attitudes. So we have x plus 6. Then we subtract 6 from both sides. We have 4 is less than x. Now, if you notice, which number is in the solution set? So 4 is smaller than x, or x is bigger than 4 if you want to write it, because remember, it is pointing into the 4, so it's both the same way. Excuse me. So it's 5. Let me see. Does it check? 10 minus 5. Is it less than 6? Is 5 less than 6? Yes, it checks. In the set of positive integers, positive, okay, all the answers are positive down here. Are they integers? Some of them are, and some of them are not. Remember that integers cannot include decimals. What is the solution set for? That problem right there. 2x minus 3 is less than or equal to 5. When I add 3 to both sides, I get 2x is less than or equal to 8. I divide by 2, x is less than or equal to 4. Okay, so x is less than or equal to 4. Since it's less than or equal to 4, it has to have 4 in the solution set. Now, hang on a second. That doesn't have 0. This has 0. Integers. Okay, integers. Yep, they don't have decimals. None of them have decimals. Okay, positive. Guess what? 0 is not a positive number. It has no sign. It's neither positive nor negative. So, choice 3 is the answer. What if this came out to be x? We know it isn't, but what if it came out to be x is less than or equal to 4.5? It's still exactly the same answer because it said integers, and we would round this down. Okay, we would round it down to 4. But when you round it, it rounds up to 5. No, because it said my number has to be less than or equal to. My number has to be less than that. You can't bump it up to 5. See if there's another problem on this page. This inequality is equivalent to which of the following? Just giving myself a little bit more room to work. You draw the big line. We're going to add 2/3 x to both sides. We're going to add 2/3 x to both sides. We get 9 is greater than or equal to. Okay, some of you might want to get out your calculators here because that's a 1x, and we're doing 1x plus 2/3 of an x. So when we're using our calculator, 1 plus 2/3. Remember, we put all fractions in parentheses. 1 plus 2/3 equals 1.666666667. Hit math, enter, enter. It turns into a fraction, and that fraction says 5/3. I know you might not be able to see it, so that says 5/3. You can see it now. 5/3x minus 16. When we add 16 to both sides, we get 25 is greater than or equal to 5/3 x. Now when we divide, why am I dividing? Because there's a little multiplication symbol there. When a number and a letter are touching, that means multiply. So we're going to divide both sides by 5/3. I'm going to use the division symbol here so we don't get confused with fraction bar over fraction bar. Divide by 5/3. So I grab my calculator and I say, calculator, what is 25 divided by parenthesis 5/3, close parenthesis, because we put all fractions in parentheses. And we get 15. Woohoo! That's a nice number. 15 is greater than or equal to x. And it says the inequality is equivalent to which one? 15 is great. Uh-oh, these all have x's first. Well, guess what? It's pointing into the x. It's pointing into the x. It could be that one. It's pointing into the x. Could be that one. It's pointing into the x. It could be that one. It's pointing into the x. Could be that one. Okay, now it's a 15. So we get rid of these 25s. Oh, and it is a 15 is greater than or equal to x. So let me see. It has to be that one because remember it's pointing into the x. It's pointing into the x, so you shade to the left. Pointing into the x, so we shade to the left. Both of these will be shaded to the left, so they're the same solution set. Mr. Bryce mows his lawn when the grass is at least 3 inches tall and less than 4 inches tall. Graph this. Let me see. Let me see. Grass. 3-inch tall grass. 4-inch tall grass. So we're going to have a 3 and a 4. Mr. Bryce mows his lawn when the grass is at least. Is 3 at least 3? Are you at least 15 years old? Yeah, I'm exactly 15 years old. Oh, okay. So you're at least 15 years old. Is it at least 3 inches long? Yes. So that means an equal to. Hey, you can be 3 and it's equal to. And less than 4 inches tall. Can it be 4 inches tall? No, it has to be less than 4 inches tall. Okay, so this means, we can mow it when it's between here, right? We can mow it when it's between there. It's at least 3 inches tall and less than 4 inches tall. Is 3.5? Is 3.5 at least 3 and less than 4? Yes. That's why we know we can shade in between. Okay, so that I think ends it. And one more. Solve the inequality and graph it. Woohoo! This is positive. That's negative. We'll deal with that in a second. Let's try combining all like terms first. 7x. Why did I bring it down? Because those two things are touching. I have to multiply them. That's minus 12x. Plus 24 is less than or equal to. I can combine these. 6x's minus 9x's is negative 3x's plus 12. I can combine these now. That is negative 5x's plus 24 is less than or equal to negative 3x's plus 12. Now let me see, which one is smaller? Believe it or not, the negative 5 is smaller because it is to the left. Left is less than. It's to the left on the number line. Negative 5. I don't like negative 5. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. Oh, isn't that beautiful? 24 is less than or equal to 2x plus 12. I think that is beautiful because now I have positive coefficients. I would have some negative feelings in there. Now I don't. Now I have 36 is less than or equal to 2x. Dividing by 2, I get 18 is less than or equal to x. And it asks to graph it. The only number that's important is 18. Is it pointing to the x? No, it is not pointing to the x. It is pointing away from the x. When it points to the x, graph to the left. It's not pointing into the x. So we don't graph to the left, we graph to the right. And there we go. If you have any questions, make sure you ask me in class.